Hello again. I'm just going to discuss, more read an article that I've just seen. It's absolutely shocking, this. Um, I know all my other videos, it's generally just me giving me opinions and just what I can remember off the top of my head, but this one is absolutely shocking. It comes from 9th of September, and it's to do with a person trying to kidnap uh, a baby from a house in Carlisle. Um, I'll read you the quick headline and then I'll go through the story. So, kidnapper 38 broke into the home of grandfather as he babysat his 2-year-old granddaughter and snatched the little girl before telling him this child belongs to Jihad now. And I'll tell you now, that isn't just a sensationalised headline either, as papers like to do. Um, this really is a story that delivers on what it says, and how this hasn't been reported on already is quite shocking. A kidnapper snatched a 2-year-old girl after assaulting her granddad, chillingly stating, "This child belongs to Jihad now." Anders Jasinski, 38, let himself into the house on Thomas Street, Carlisle, while the 63-year-old man was babysitting his granddaughter and watching children's TV at around 9 a.m. on 9th of September. Sorry about that. I've got a bit of a chest infection at the moment. So, even from the beginning, this, even without and this is the unfortunate thing, this is what you would call an abnormal story for the average British person. A stranger walking into a house, kidnapping a strange child. Now, I was very surprised when I heard the name. It is a Polish name. You are right if you're guessing that. But again, still not a British person, though, a foreign person. And this is something I've noticed, and probably a lot of you have noticed. Like the other day when there was that shooting in London, 3 people shot, 1 killed. I knew straight away that was not going to be somebody with the name of like John Smith. And as it has turned out with that, it is a young black gentleman, a teen, and it's probably going to turn out to be gang related and some sort of probably a gang initiation. And same in Wales, there's been a stabbing of a pregnant woman in Merthyr Tydfil. And again, I knew straight away that was not going to be a British person, because the woman was a stranger to the assaulter, and it turns out he's from somewhere like Romania. And these sorts of random crimes involving strangers are what you would call not British crimes, simply in the nature of them. Anyway, I'll continue. Moments earlier, Jasinski, a complete stranger, had smiled while passing a front window of the address. He told the man as the girl was sat on his lap, "I need your phone, the police are looking for me." So again, he's just let himself in. I mean, I guess you could say, why is he not locking his front door? But why should he have to? And this also, I think, exemplifies why we should have right to firearms for self-defence. Because when you have old people in homes, this is a 63-year-old man. Now, not every 63-year-old man is weak and infirmed. However, a lot of men have lived hard lives and haven't necessarily looked after themselves once they get over the age of 40. So for them to be able to defend themselves from a younger middle-aged man is very, very difficult, and even harder for women of that age. Why shouldn't he be allowed to have a Magnum 45 to put a dinner plate-sized hole through the chest of that stranger when he walks through his front door? I have absolutely no problems with somebody shooting a stranger who uninvitedly walks into the house. I don't care what the reasons for. You just don't do that. But anyway, back to the story. After Jasinski was challenged by the man, a scuffle ensued and continued into the street. The man recalled being punched in the side of the face and hitting his head on a parked van as he fell to the ground. Peter Kelly told Carlisle Magistrates Court. He said that he looked up and saw the male enter the house where his granddaughter was and leave with her under his arm. I mean, could you imagine that? You've just tried to fight somebody off out of your house. You get knocked to the floor because you can't fight him off, either because you don't know how to fight, or probably in the case of this man is he's just too old and not fit enough to be able to take it. His body just can't handle it. He's been knocked to the floor. He's probably feeling a bit dazed and confused, and probably a bit demasculated and failing. He's worried for his granddaughter. To see the man walk out the front door with his granddaughter, and his worst fears have obviously come true. What will have been running through his head. I mean, that's horrific. And once again, why should people not be allowed to have access to firearms? Even a 9mm. Put 3 9mm rounds through his head, through his forehead. I'll sort him out. I don't care. I don't care what people think. He's human rights. He hasn't got a right to walk in somebody's house and kidnap the granddaughter, sorry. Absolutely none whatsoever. The only right he's got at that point is deciding on how many bullets he wants put in him, in my opinion. It's just absolutely abhorrent that we are not allowed to deal with people like this. Our ancestors will be rolling in the graves, seeing the state of what's happened to us as a people. Absolutely ashamed. So, he states that he went to run after him, but says his physical condition, there we go, was such that he couldn't effectively run. I mean, that could also be because he could be concussed and he's banged his head on the van and the floor. So that may not be his physical condition as in general. I don't know, I'm guessing. He shouted for help and he stated that a van stopped and neighbours effectively became involved and offered assistance. Perhaps, unsurprisingly, he says that he was in a state of shock. Well, I'm not surprised he was in a state of shock. I would be too. Who wouldn't? You know, a complete stranger just walked into... Who expects that to happen? Stranger just walks into your house, asks for your phone because the police are after him, and then you have a fight with him and he kidnaps your granddaughter. I mean, who would not be in shock with that? But at least he put up a fight. You know, fair play to the man. You know. Jasinski had been heard to say, this child belongs to jihad now. The child was returned to the grandfather unharmed by one good Samaritan a short time later. And I hope that good Samaritan gave that guy a good kick in as well. I really do. I hope he gave him a right good shoeing because he deserves it. Absolutely. I mean, I know the courts would probably do him for that, but you know what? It'd be worth taking one for, and they shouldn't really. I mean, the court should have special privileges really to overlook things like that. But unfortunately, they'd call it vigilante justice. Again, it's just a weakness of our country. Our even going back, just like say to the beginning of the 20th century, you know, not even that far back, or even the 1940s and 50s, the police would just be like, "Did you give him a good shoeing?" "Yeah, right. Well, fair enough, mate. You deserved it." And that would have been the end of it. You know, I mean, what the hell has gone wrong with our country? Weak, absolutely weak and spineless. University related. That's the problem. Too many university educated people running these institutions. With the insistence of an interpreter as well. I mean, that's shocking. He should have gone to court with no interpreter. Tough poo. If you're living in the UK and you can't speak English, guess what? That's your problem, fella. Your problem. I mean, this again, the problem with our country. Weak. He pleaded guilty to kidnapping the girl and that he had carried her away unlawfully against her will by a force or fraud. It's not fraud, is it? You know, kidnapping, so you don't fraudulent. Oh, I just picked her up and I just fraudulently took her away. No, it was kidnapping. Kidnapping is kidnapping. That is it. You know. Jasinski further admitted assaulting her grandfather, causing actual bodily harm. Should have been attempted murder. Really, in my opinion, that should be classed because of the severity of the crime. I think attempted murder, and as it is common law is the average omnibus reader or whatever it is that they say. I'm the average person on the street. You know, I'm not some super person. I don't have some overly prestigious job. You know, I'm ex-army. I wasn't an officer though, so I was just a Tom, left as a Lance Corporal, acting Lance Corporal, not even a full Lance Corporal. Worked on the railway in railway engineering, now I drive a truck. I'm about as average of a person as you can get. I say that man should be charged for murder. He should, I mean, in my perfect world, he'd be getting the gallows or a firing squad for that because it's just unacceptable. A psychiatric report. Oh, we can't. Got to be psychiatric. Got to be criminally insane, hasn't he? Oh dear. It's always the same. They're trying to medicalise everything. No, he's just a bad man. A bad person who needs who didn't get hit by his mum enough. I don't know. Needs flogging and shooting. A psychiatric report had been prepared and considered before today's hearing, the court was told. Judge Michael Fanning adjourned the case for his preparations of a probation service pre-sentence report. I mean, after this, it just goes on to say that he's going to get a sentence. He is going to get, but it's just they're going to decide how long the sentence is going to be. And here's an interesting part. He'd been jailed for 40 months in 2019 after starting a blaze inside an address at the city. Why is he still in the country? If he spent 40 months inside for arson, the psychiatric report and a previous conviction for arson, both of which suggest you may be a dangerous offender. And the arson was with people in the address. So it said 40 months in 2019 after starting a blaze inside an address at the city's Brunton Avenue as a family slept. I mean, this guy's a literal psychopath. Why is he in the country? And why is he now not facing the death penalty after what he's done today? Twice he's tried to kill people and kidnapping. Waste of space, oxygen thief. Kill him. That is my opinion. He needs to be killed. But in a state-sanctioned legal manner. Obviously, do not go after him in the form of vigilante action. That is not acceptable, legally speaking. Thank you. Goodbye.